Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. The world has changed a lot in the last couple days. We have to talk about the war in Israel because it's now deeply connected to the war in Ukraine. Hamas launches unprecedented surprise attack on Israel. This occurred on October 7th, so the war in Israel has now been going on for 5 days. Here's a map of the Gaza Strip. This is the Egyptian border. And over here is Israeli-controlled territory. And this was a massive intelligence failure from the Israelis. They were not prepared. They did not see this coming. More than likely, Hamas has spent years planning and preparing for this coordinated attack, saving up ammunition, saving up rockets. On October 7th, all the checkpoints to the Gaza Strip were overrun. Hamas cut through the fences. They used paragliding equipment to get over the walls. And the goal of these thousands of Hamas terrorists was mass casualties, to just target and kill as many Israeli civilians as possible, not distinguishing between civilian and military. The pictures and videos online are absolutely horrifying. As of this morning, Israel states that the death toll is 1,200 of their citizens, along with 3,000 being injured and an estimated 150 being abducted by Hamas and taken back to the Gaza Strip. It's worth mentioning that a lot of these Israeli citizens are also dual citizens. They're also Americans, they're also Germans, they're also Russians. Hamas doesn't care. They want to kill absolutely everyone. So if you go online, you will see the pictures, you will see the videos. It is horrifying. Hamas is deliberately documenting everything because they want to show it to the world. They want to publish these pictures and videos of their terrorism. So here's a clip I can share with you that doesn't show any bodies, but this is a journalist on the ground after Israel regained control of their territory.
We are moving in right now. There are dead bodies everywhere. The ground is burned. There are crashed cars. You can see in the bus station the clothes of the people taken by the terrorists. Right across the street, a completely destroyed house. You can see around me cars parked, absolutely destroyed. Right behind me there is the breach in the fence from which the terrorists came through. The terrorists came into the village and burnt down everything in sight. Trucks used to get supplies to the people who live here. This is a house that was completely burnt down by terrorists. There's a siren that sounded right now. We're taking cover. There's been a night.
Horrifying. The stories are coming out of the people who have been abducted by Hamas and taken back to the Gaza Strip. Just to put a face on this tragedy, this woman, her name is Noah. She was attending a peace music festival near the Gaza Strip when Hamas attacked this festival. So that is the face of terror of a woman being dragged away by Hamas back to the Gaza Strip. Her fate is unknown. And the brutality is indescribable. I don't know how to talk about this, guys. There are pictures and videos of a German woman who went to Israel to attend this peace concert, and she ended up in the back of a truck, raped and murdered by Hamas, who filmed it with pride and posted it on the internet. It gets worse. There are pictures and videos of Hamas killing animals, killing pet dogs. I'll link this clip down below if you want to see it for yourself, but they entered this kibbutz and slaughtered absolutely everyone and everything, and then burned down all the houses. Kfar Aza smells of death. Inside the Israeli border village where babies were slaughtered in Hamas's attack. I mean, this is contention for the most evil thing ever done, but I'm going to play a little bit of this clip. It's 3 minutes long. I'll link it down below.
David, it's hard to even explain exactly just the mass casualties that happened right here. In fact, the Israeli military says they still don't have a clear number, but I'm talking to some of the soldiers and they say what they've witnessed as they've been walking through these different houses, these different communities, babies, their heads cut off. That's what they said. Gunned down, families completely gunned down in their beds. You can see some
unspeakable evil. Bodies of 40 children have been found in this settlement. This is a body bag. This is a body bag of a baby killed by Hamas. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. In the past, I have been critical of Israel and their policy towards the Palestinian people. And the reason why is because Israel has all the power and control. The West Bank and the Gaza Strip, these are occupied territories. The Palestinians don't have their own country. So when you have all the power, you have all the responsibility. When you have all the responsibility, you get all the blame. That has been Israel's reputation for my entire life. But given the atrocities that I've seen from the Palestinians, from Hamas, there's no debate. I am 100% in support of Israel and agree they have to do everything they have to do to get their people back and to prevent such an attack in the future. These are pictures of Israeli kids and babies kidnapped by Hamas, taken back to the Gaza Strip, being used as hostages. To what end? So that's the million-dollar question. Israel has a far superior military capability. So what is the goal of Palestine? What is the goal of Hamas? And it's to inspire jihad around the world, to have Arabs and Muslims attack Israel in any capacity possible. And this is what's happening all over the world with protests and demonstrations in support of Hamas. So this is what Jordan looked like a couple nights ago. So this is Jordan. This is a Muslim country. This is not surprising. But what's surprising is the pro-Hamas protests and rallies occurring in democracies, in Western countries. This is a pro-Hamas rally happening in central Madrid. So at this Hamas rally, they're flying the Soviet flag. They see Russia and the old Soviet Empire as their ally. It gets worse. This is Sydney, Australia, the Sydney Opera House, a pro-Hamas rally, in which the crowd is chanting, "Gas the Jews." There's just so much hate. And the concern is that other state actors, other countries will become involved. The most likely one is Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Israeli Defense Force has already struck at Hezbollah after a couple rockets fired over the border. Lebanon is not doing that great. They're not a great military power, but the whole point of what Hamas is trying to do is to rally everyone, inspire everyone, jihad fighters from across the Muslim world, to somehow get to Israel's borders and kill everyone. That's their goal. That's their objective. Every man, woman, and child who's an Israeli citizen to be annihilated. Now, I don't think Egypt is going to get involved. Saudi Arabia is not going to get involved. Jordan can't do anything. So the biggest threat to global security is Iran. The people militarily allied with Russia, supplying rockets and drones and artillery to the Russians so they can wage war against Ukraine. So here is the Ayatollah posting on Twitter, "Heads of the Zionist regime and their backers should know that the massacre and mass murder of the people of Gaza will cause a larger calamity to come upon them." And the State of Israel responded to the Ayatollah, stating, "It's easy to be brave when you're hiding behind a keyboard. You and your Hamas friends will regret your barbaric actions very soon." So my personal opinion is that the Iranians are cowards. They like fighting these wars with proxies, supplying money, supplying weapons to Russia, to Hezbollah, to Hamas. So at this time, I don't think Iran is going to get directly involved, because if they do, they're going to get annihilated by the United States. The United States is a military ally of Israel. We are duty-bound to defend them. If a nation-state such as Iran directly got involved, then yes, the United States would respond and defend Israel. So this is the supercarrier, the USS Gerald Ford, 100,000 tons of pure democracy with a 5,000 crew handling. This is a floating city, accompanied by a supercarrier group, so there's lots of other ships and submarines and aircraft that accompanies it. And the USS Gerald Ford was in the Western Mediterranean. As soon as hostilities broke out on October 7th, they turned and headed for the Eastern Mediterranean. They're now sitting off the coast of Israel. And the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, another supercarrier group, they're also deploying to the Eastern Mediterranean. So within probably this week, there will be 2 aircraft carriers off the coast of Israel to help deter Iran and offer support. So Israel has declared a state of war, the first time in 50 years. But this is a response. Hamas was the first to declare a state of war by flowing over the border and butchering civilians. So here's Prime Minister Netanyahu. I'm not the biggest fan of this guy, but in a period of war, you go to war with the leaders you got. And here is the Prime Minister addressing his people.
Israel is at war. We didn't want this war. It was forced upon us in the most brutal and savage way. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it. Once the Jewish people were stateless. Once the Jewish people were defenseless. No longer. Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made...
So Hamas started this war, and Israel is going to finish it. Whatever Hamas was hoping to accomplish, they have no chance of success. Israel is going to annihilate them. Full might of Israel lays siege to Gaza as battles with Hamas rage on. Medics in Gaza warn of catastrophic consequences of water, power, food, and fuel being blocked for the 2 million civilians of the Gaza Strip. So this is a full embargo. Israel is not allowing water, food, power, or fuel into the Gaza Strip for these 2 million people. And people are going to debate, how ethical is this? But if you're at war with someone, Hamas declared war on Israel, you don't supply your enemy with water, power, food, and fuel. If the civilians need to get out, they need to get out through the Egyptian border. If Hamas is concerned for the safety and lives of their people, then they can surrender. They can release the hostages, they can unconditionally surrender to Israel, and then water, power, food, and fuel can resume to the Gaza Strip to, once again, provide for the Palestinian civilians. And the Gaza Strip is being destroyed right now. Israel has a very powerful air force, and Hamas does not have air defense systems. So yes, there's going to be a lot of shocking videos online of entire city blocks within the Gaza Strip collapsing. And the reason why they're collapsing is because these are where the rockets are coming from. Anytime we see rockets being launched from Hamas, from an apartment building, yes, Israel is going to level that entire apartment building. That's where the rockets are coming from. If Hamas chooses to fire rockets at Israel where civilians are located, this is horrible, but yes, Hamas is the one choosing to continue this fight. And this is what the tunnels look like. If you want to see it for yourself, Hamas has been spending decades building this network of tunnels, and they store the rockets underground, in the tunnels. We have a video of it. They're proud of this. This is what they've been doing with their time in the last couple years. Now, these rockets more than likely are coming from Iran. Hamas doesn't have the technical capability to build their own rockets. So Iran is manufacturing them. Iran is shipping them to Egypt. People sympathetic to Hamas in Egypt are then smuggling them through tunnels under the border into the Gaza Strip. So if there's a tunnel network getting weapons in, then there's a tunnel network that can get civilians, women and children, out of the Gaza Strip. My advice for the Palestinian people, for Hamas, use your tunnels to get civilians out. But something tells me Hamas is not going to do that. So Hamas has taken to television stating that they're open to negotiations. They're open to a ceasefire. Here's a statement they made on Al Jazeera TV.
To put an end to this, from this moment on, we announce that any targeting of innocent civilians without warning will be met, regretfully to say, by executing one of the hostages in our custody. And we will be forced to broadcast this execution. We regret this to put...
So Hamas is saying that they have a couple hundred Israeli citizens in their custody, and if Israel doesn't stop attacking them, then they're going to start cutting their heads off on camera for the internet. Wow. So this war between Israel and Hamas isn't going to last very long. 2 million people without food, water, electricity, and fuel. It's going to get ugly, but it's not going to last very long. So how does this all tie in and relate to Ukraine? President Zelensky is of Jewish heritage. He and the Ukrainian people have come out in strong support of Israel. Horrible news from Israel. My condolences go out to everyone who's lost relatives or close ones in the terrorist attack. We have faith that order will be restored and the terrorists will be defeated. So here's the connection. Russia shoots pets. Hamas shoots pets. Russia loots civilian homes. Hamas loots civilian homes. Russia rapes women. Hamas rapes women. Russia steals kids. Hamas steals kids. Russia beheads prisoners of war, and Hamas beheads everyone. So this war between Israel and Hamas, this is something that the Kremlin wants. They want a distraction. They want the media attention being taken off of Russia and Ukraine and directed to anywhere else in the world. Russia interested in inciting war in the Middle East, according to President Zelensky. And this isn't a secret. Israel-Hamas war pulls Russians' attention away from Ukraine. Observers have called the attack, which the Palestinian military group launched on Russian President Putin's birthday, Hamas's gift to Vladimir Putin, as it threatened to pull Western attention and support away from Ukraine towards Israel. So this is the kind of stuff they're saying on Kremlin State TV. Let me read this clip for you. I will try to look at all these events in a military way, a bit cynically, from the side of a Russian officer. He then says, without beating around the bush, whose ally is Israel? The United States of America. Whose ally is Iran and its surrounding Muslim world? Ours. We have our own goal and objectives, which our president brilliantly defined at the discussion club. So the Russians are proud of what Iran and Hamas is doing in Israel because Israel has close ties to the United States. Russia's saying, we're not going to condemn these attacks. They have people on television saying, it's a good thing. The Muslim world stands with Russia. The Muslim world supports Russia's claims in Ukraine. So this is the fear. This is the ultimate fear that Israel has been trying to avoid for the last 20 months. People have asked, why has Israel not expressed stronger support for Ukraine? And the answer is repression or retaliation against the Jewish population of Moscow and Russia. Moscow residents are taking the gloves off now, being more open about Putin's Russia being a carbon copy of Hitler's Germany. So here is a Jewish-owned business in Russia somewhere with a woman spray painting profanity and the Star of David on the building. So yes, of course, the anti-Semitism and the hatred towards any Jewish people anywhere in the world, even if whoever owns this business is not an Israeli citizen. But what about Solovyev? Solovyev, the Kremlin's top propagandist, is Jewish. And this is what Solovyev has to say.
Надеюсь, Запад заткнется со своими фразами о том, что жестокость российской армии. Хотите жестокость? Смотрите, как воюет израильская армия. Хотите понять разницу между СВО и войной? Посмотрите, как сейчас израильская армия разносит, просто разносит сектор Газа, отключив от воды, электричества, всего. Методы, которые для нас были бы
While they turned off their electricity, water, everything, these methods would be absolutely unacceptable for Russia to do. That's what you've been trying to do, Russia. By going after Ukraine's energy infrastructure, that was your objective. So no, you don't get credit for failing to do something you wanted to do anyways. So Solovyev's angle is that Israel is terrible. Look at what Israel is doing to the Gaza Strip. If Russia were to do this, we would be called evil, we would be called immoral. What fantasy world is he living in? Just look at the city of Mariupol. 95% of all buildings were destroyed by the Russian military. Unknown tens of thousands of citizens, Ukrainian citizens, were massacred when these buildings were destroyed. Russia's done the same thing to Mariupol and other towns in this war, so no, Solovyev, you don't get credits for being better than Israel because you don't target civilian buildings. These headlines just get stupid. Chechnya's Kadyrov voices support for Palestine, offers to send peacekeepers to the Gaza Strip. Sure. Russia transfers captured Ukrainian weapons to Hamas in a bid to discredit Kyiv. So, of course, Russia's going to meddle in this war. And what they're choosing to do, they've captured American equipment from Afghanistan, from Ukraine, and they've sent this to Hamas so that they can spin the narrative that Western aid to Ukraine is being sold on the black market and ending up in the hands of Hamas and terrorists. 100% this isn't true. Of course, the Russians are lying about this, but for Russia's sympathizers in the West, they are going to push this insane narrative. Wagner trained Hamas militants for attack on Israel, according to Ukrainian partisans. Yeah, that seems like something Dmitry Ukin, a Nazi, would do send Wagner mercenaries to Gaza in order to help train Hamas for their assault on Israel. Putin says U.S. foreign policy failure caused the Israeli-Hamas war. Why is Israel and the Palestinians fighting? And it's America's fault somehow. If only Russia was the peace guarantor of the world, if Russia's military could have 2 aircraft carriers off the coast of Israel, somehow they could end this dispute. So normally at the end of my videos, I have feel-good clips for you, but today I don't. I want to mention that yesterday I uploaded a video from Macer Gifford. He's a British citizen fighting on the front lines in the Ukrainian military. I'll link this clip down below if you haven't seen it. It's a 5-minute clip. He filmed it specially for this channel, for you guys. But the final clip I want to share with you is Roman. I shared a lot of clips when he was on the front lines defending Bakhmut last winter. Roman, in late spring or early summer, sustained a head injury, and he's not been able to medically be cleared to return to his unit. So he's been focusing on recuperating and getting better. And he recently appeared at an event in Kyiv called Vladimir Putin Do F Off, organized by the British author John Sweeney. So here's a clip from Roman talking about his experience in Kramatorsk. He just happened to be at the pizza shop when it was bombed by the Russians, and this is what he had to say at this event.
I'm a sniper in storm infantry, so I saw many storm operations near Bakhmut, but this was one of the craziest thing that I see in my whole military life, because you see, on the battlefield, all of us, we are volunteer soldiers from 3rd Assault Brigade, so many of us fight in Azov, and we are ready to kill and ready to die. But when you just sitting on the cafe, it happens, there were so many civilian peoples there, and it's something very horrible, because seeing death on the battlefield, it's one thing, but seeing innocent people dying and screaming under falling walls, this is something I even have 2 weeks after dead dreams about those dead people, because there were also children, and most of that was girls or women, and as for soldier, it's impossible to stand with the thoughts that you're doing nothing but must protect Ukrainian people, but civilian people, but you can't do it against rocket, against this fucking Iskander. And yeah, it was one of the hardest experience there, and I don't know how to protect people against that, because air air raid, it was after it's common thing that in Kramatorsk first it's explosion from some shelling, and then air siren is start, so it's impossible to hide, and it's impossible to realize that something bad is happening. Thank you for creating some such events. Appreciate it.
Roman is still active on social media, but only on Instagram. He gives Instagram stories about what he does daily. If you want to follow him on Instagram, I'll put the link down below. That's all for this update video. Glory to the heroes, glory to Ukraine. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.